Diary of the Forgotten Forest. I'm posting this on Reddit's Unosleep because I don't know what else to do. If you're reading this, consider it a warning. Stay away from Pine Hollow. That forest isn't meant for people. My name is Alex Thompson, 22 years old back then, a photography major at the University of Washington. We were a group of 4 college friends, thinking a summer camping trip in 2019 would be the adventure of a lifetime. Something to look back on with fond memories and inside jokes. Now, I'm the only one left, and I'm not even sure if I'm truly left at all. I'm typing this from a dingy coffee shop on the outskirts of Seattle, the kind with flickering fluorescent lights and stale coffee that tastes like regret. That cursed old journal is sitting next to me on the scarred wooden table, its leather cover cracked like veins on aged skin. It still whispers in my mind, fragments of sentences that echo like distant screams, a nightmare I can't wake from no matter how hard I try. The pages feel unnaturally warm to the touch, as if pulsing with a life of their own. Read this carefully, word for word, and if you feel a chill crawling down your spine, like fingers tracing your vertebrae, stop right now. Because maybe, just maybe, you're already caught in the loop, and your name is about to appear in its faded ink. It all started in June 2019, during that golden window between finals and the real world encroaching on our carefree college days. The air in Seattle was crisp with the promise of summer freedom, carrying the faint scent of salt water from Puget Sound. We were undergrads at UW, a mismatched but inseparable crew bonded by late-night study sessions, cheap beer, and a shared wanderlust. Me, Alex Thompson, I was the group's chronicler, my Nikon camera always at the ready, slung around my neck like a talisman. I had a compulsion to document everything: sunsets, candid laughs, the mundane turned magical through a lens. It was my way of holding on to moments, freezing time before it slipped away. Then there was Jordan Lee, 23, our resident comedian and aspiring YouTube star, a communications major with a quick wit and an infectious laugh that could diffuse any tension. He was always filming vlogs on his phone, turning ordinary outings into viral-worthy content. Content is king, he'd say with a grin, his dark hair perpetually tousled from running his hands through it in excitement. Emily Carter, 21, was the environmental science student, our voice of reason wrapped in a quiet, introspective shell. She was the one who overpacked, stuffing our bags with first aid kits, extra batteries, and trail maps just in case. Her worry lines would crease her forehead whenever plans veered off script, but her soft smile and gentle nature made her the heart of the group. And Ryan Patel, 22, the anthropology major with an explorer's soul, was our wild card. He loved diving into the unknown, wandering off trails with a backpack full of notebooks and a head full of stories about ancient cultures and hidden worlds. He'd get lost on purpose sometimes, emerging hours later with tales of secret spots that left us envious and exasperated. We picked Pine Hollow on a whim, after Jordan stumbled upon some glowing reviews on a hiking forum. It was billed as an untouched paradise in Washington's Cascade Mountains, a vast expanse of ancient forest, where towering pines pierced the sky like spears, and crystal-clear streams snaked through moss-covered boulders, their waters murmuring ancient secrets. The name alone evoked a sense of mystery, a place where nature reclaimed its dominance over man. But we'd heard the darker whispers too, the kind that circulate in online threads and local lore, disappearances that stretched back decades, unexplained and unresolved. In 1987, a Boy Scout troop of 8 boys and 2 leaders vanished during a routine outing. Their tents were found intact, campfires still smoldering, but no footprints leading away. In 2005, a veteran hunter named Elias Grant radioed his buddies about trees that moved like they were alive, his voice crackling with panic before the line went dead. Search dogs refused to enter the woods, whining and pulling back. Most chilling was the 2015 case. A family of 4 parents, a teenage daughter, and a young son drove in for a day hike and never returned. Rescuers found their SUV parked at the trailhead, keys still in the ignition, and a single child's sneaker dangling from a branch near a deep ravine, as if snatched mid-stride. Locals in the nearby town of Evergreen called it the Forest of the Forgotten, a cursed stretch of land where the boundary between reality and something else thinned to a razor's edge. Stories spoke of whispers in the wind that mimicked loved ones' voices, paths that shifted like sand dunes, and shadows that moved independently of their sources. We laughed it off. Of course, urban legends fueled by overactive imaginations and too many horror movies. It's the 21st century, Jordan scoffed, already brainstorming vlog titles like Debunking the Haunted Woods, Epic Fail, or Real Deal. Emily rolled her eyes but packed an extra flashlight. Ryan was thrilled, seeing it as a chance to uncover forgotten folklore. And me, I figured it would make for stunning photos, the kind that could win contests, or at least impress my professors. 3 days, 2 nights, what could possibly go wrong? I remember saying, clinking beer bottles in our cramped dorm room as we planned the trip. The drive up was uneventful at first, our SUV bouncing along I-90, before veering onto narrower Forest Service roads. The scenery shifted from urban sprawl to rolling hills, then to the dense embrace of the Cascades. Fog rolled in unexpectedly. Even though the weather app promised clear skies and balmy temperatures, it clung to the windshield like a living thing, forcing Ryan, who was driving too slow, to a crawl. "This is atmospheric," Jordan quipped from the back seat, filming the misty vista. Emily fidgeted with the radio, static crackling as stations faded in and out. We arrived at the trailhead around noon, the parking lot empty, save for a rusted sign warning of wildlife and the importance of leave no trace. Shouldering our packs, we hiked a mile in to a picturesque clearing by a babbling brook, its waters so clear you could see pebbles shimmering like jewels on the bottom. Setting up camp was a ritual of laughter and light-hearted jabs. Tents pitched in a semicircle around a fire pit, sleeping bags unrolled, and a cooler stocked with sandwiches, s'mores, supplies, and a few illicit beers. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, painting the canopy in hues of orange and purple, the forest seemed welcoming, almost enchanting. Jordan set up his tripod for a vlog intro. Day 1 in Pine Hollow. Adventurers, we've got laughs, we've got nature, and hopefully no bears. Emily strummed her guitar, her voice carrying soft folk melodies that blended with the rustle of leaves. Ryan poked around the edges of the site, collecting odd-shaped rocks and declaring them artifacts. I wandered with my camera, capturing the interplay of light and shadow, the way the pines loomed like silent guardians. But as true night fell, an unnatural hush blanketed everything. The usual symphony of the wilderness, chirping crickets, hooting owls, the whisper of wind through branches, was conspicuously absent. It was as if the forest held its breath, waiting. Our fire crackled defiantly, casting flickering shadows that danced on the tree trunks like restless spirits. The air grew cooler, carrying a faint, earthy scent of decay. Restless after dinner, I decided to take a short solo walk for some night photography. "Don't get lost like Ryan," Emily teased, handing me an extra flashlight. I promised I'd be back in 10 minutes and set off along a faint trail, the beam of my light cutting through the darkness like a blade. The path wound deeper than I anticipated, the underbrush thickening until I reached an enormous old oak tree, its trunk gnarled and twisted, bark etched with deep furrows that resembled screaming faces in the dim light. It stood apart from the pines, an anomaly in the landscape, its roots bulging from the soil like veins. Something glinted at its base, half buried in a bed of fallen leaves and moss. Curiosity piqued. I knelt and brushed away the debris, revealing an ancient journal. The cover was leather, weathered and mildewed, edges frayed as if clawed by time itself. It looked like it had been there for years, decades even. Exposed to the elements, yet strangely preserved. No insects had burrowed into it. No rot had claimed its pages completely. My fingers tingled as I picked it up, a subtle vibration humming through the binding. I flipped it open under the flashlight's glow. The handwriting inside was elegant but erratic, the ink faded to a sepia brown, smeared in places as if the writer had been trembling or rushing. The first entry jumped out at me. "This is the first night of their camping trip in Pine Hollow. Alex will discover this journal beneath the ancient oak tree tonight, drawn by an inexplicable pull." My name, my full name, Alex Thompson, stared back at me, sending a jolt of adrenaline through my veins. Heart pounding, I turned the page. Jordan will vlog the campfire scene, capturing their laughter. Emily sings folk songs to ward off the evening chill. Ryan wanders the perimeter but returns safely, oblivious to the eyes watching from the shadows. It was an exact recounting of our evening, down to the smallest details. A cold sweat broke out on my forehead, the kind that makes your skin feel clammy and tight. Who could have written this? How did they know? The forest seemed to close in around me, branches creaking like old bones. I shoved the journal into my backpack and hurried back to camp, my footsteps crunching louder than before, as if announcing my retreat. The others were still around the fire, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories. I didn't mention the find right away. Part of me worried they'd think I was pranking them, or, worse, losing my grip on reality. That night, zipped into my sleeping bag, I couldn't sleep. The tent walls rustled faintly, though there was no wind. Under the dim glow of my headlamp, I pulled out the journal and read more. The entries continued in that same shaky script, detailing us with eerie precision. Alex Thompson, 22, photography student at U, driven by a need to capture the world. He will be the first to sense the wrongness, the fracture in time. It described our personalities, our habits, as if the writer had been shadowing us for weeks. Impossible, we'd decided on this trip just days ago. Spur of a moment. The next prediction chilled me to the core. Come morning, the group will embark on a hike. Ryan will lead them to a small, hidden cave nestled in the hillside, its mouth like a gaping wound in the earth. I snapped the book shut, my mind racing. Was this some elaborate hoax? A planted artifact for thrill seekers? But the paper was brittle, yellowed with age, the ink flaking under my thumb. Sleep came in fitful bursts, haunted by dreams of endless forests where paths looped back on themselves. Dawn broke with a deceptive serenity, sunlight filtering through the canopy in golden shafts. We brewed coffee over the embers, the aroma grounding us in normalcy. Jordan, ever the optimist, fired up his phone for a vlog. Welcome to day 2 in the mystical Pine Hollow, folks. Breakfast of champions, and then some exploring who's with me. Ryan, buzzing with energy, volunteered to lead the hike. I scouted a trail last night, looks promising. Emily packed snacks and water, her worry evident but unspoken. We set off, the air fresh and invigorating, birds finally chirping as if to mock the previous night's silence. Not even 30 minutes in, Ryan called out, "Hey, check this out." There it was, narrow cave opening in the rocky slope, vines draping its entrance like curtains. The air around it felt cooler, heavier, carrying a musty odor of damp stone and something metallic, like blood. Emily hesitated at the threshold. "This doesn't look safe. Guys, what if the roof collapses or there's bats or something?" Ryan laughed it off, peering inside with his flashlight. "Come on, Em, just a quick look. Could be cool fossils or Native American markings." Jordan filmed the whole thing, narrating dramatically. "Entering the dragon's lair, will we find treasure or doom?" I hung back, snapping photos of the cave's mouth, the jagged rocks framing it like teeth. My stomach twisted as I recalled the journal S words. Emily will voice her concerns about the cave's stability. Jordan will document the interior for his audience. Alex will photograph the entrance, unknowingly capturing the first omen. It matched perfectly. Back at camp that afternoon, as we lunched on sandwiches by the brook, I couldn't hold it in any longer. The sun was high, but a chill lingered in my bones. "Guys, I need to show you something. I found this last night during my walk." I pulled the journal from my pack, its weight feeling heavier than before. Jordan snatched it first, flipping through with a smirk. "Whoa, vintage diary. This some creepypasta prop you brought. Alex, nice touch." Emily's expression shifted from curiosity to unease as she leaned over his shoulder. "Don't joke around, let S actually read it. The handwriting looks ... old." Ryan took a turn, his brow furrowing. "Our names are in here, like everything we've done so far. Who the fuck wrote this? Is someone messing with us?" We gathered in a tight circle around the fire pit. The journal passed between us as we read aloud in hushed tones. The entries unfolded like a mirror to our lives. On the second evening, they will convene to examine these pages. Jordan will jest to mask his growing doubt. Emily will pale, her intuition screaming warnings. Ryan will scan for clues, his adventurous spirit blinded to the trap closing around them. A heavy silence descended, broken only by the brook's indifferent gurgle. The air grew thick, charged with an electric tension. "It's predicting us," Emily whispered, her voice barely audible, hands clasped tightly in her lap to stop them from shaking. Jordan forced a laugh, but it rang hollow. "Nah, this is bullshit. Probably some local artist leaving art installations to freak out tourists." But his eyes darted to the tree line, where shadows lengthened prematurely. As we delved deeper into the journal, the tone shifted from descriptive to ominous, the handwriting growing more frantic, letters slanting as if the pen had been gripped in terror. It foretold events yet to unfold. As night falls on the second day, a dense fog will envelop the camp, muting sounds and blurring boundaries. Ryan will step out alone to relieve himself, only to hear whispers calling his name from the mist voices that mimic Emily's soft timbre. We exchanged uneasy glances, the fire's warmth doing little to dispel the creeping dread. Jordan tried to lighten the mood by roasting more marshmallows, but even he seemed subdued. Midnight arrived with the fog, rolling in like a tidal wave of white, swallowing the stars and turning our world into a hazy cocoon. Visibility dropped to mere feet. The tents loomed like ghosts. Ryan excused himself, zipping out of his tent with a yawn. Nature calls back in a sec. Minutes stretched into an eternity. When he returned, his face was ashen, eyes wide with a fear I'd never seen in him. "I heard someone calling my name out there." It sounded exactly like you, Ryan. Come here. Ryan, help me. Emily's hand flew to her mouth. I didn't say anything. I've been in my tent the whole time. The journal had nailed it again. Panic bubbled beneath the surface. The next line read, Emily's fear will spike, her composure cracking. Jordan will attempt to vlog the incident to rationalize it, but his phone will drain inexplicably, as if the forest itself siphons the energy. Jordan grabbed his device, thumbing the camera app. Okay, this is getting weird. Let's capture it for posterity. Ghost whispers in Pine Hollow could go viral, but the screen flickered erratically. The battery icon plunged from 80% to dead in seconds. What the actual hell? I charged this an hour ago. My pulse thundered in my ears as I turned the pages, the predictions escalating into horror. On the third morning, desperation will drive them to flee, but the trails will have vanished, rearranged by unseen hands. Ryan will stray from the group, tumbling into a deep ravine, his cries echoing unanswered. We didn't wait for dawn. Packing in the dark, flashlights bobbing like will-o'-the-wisps, we broke camp with frantic efficiency. Screw this place, Jordan muttered, stuffing his gear. Emily nodded vigorously, tears glistening. Ryan led the way back to the trailhead, or what we thought was the way, but the path was gone. Landmarks we'd noted, a forked pine, a boulder shaped like a bear head, shifted or disappeared entirely. The brook, which had flowed southward, now babbled in the opposite direction, defying logic. This can't be right, Ryan said, consulting his compass, which spun wildly. We wandered in circles for hours, thorns snagging our clothes, exhaustion setting in. Then, a shout. Ryan had veered too close to a hidden drop-off, his foot slipping on loose gravel. He plummeted, grabbing a root at the last second, dangling over a yawning abyss. Help! Pull me up! We scrambled to the edge, hauling him back with ropes from our packs, muscles burning. He was shaken but alive. The journal's words mocked us. Ryan falls into the ravine but is rescued. This time the forest grants no second chances. Terror now gripped us like a vice, squeezing the air from our lungs. This wasn't coincidence or prank. It was a malevolent force scripting our demise. Deeper entries painted gruesome fates. Emily will be ensnared by the returning fog, invisible tendrils dragging her into the void. She will scream for salvation, but her friends' efforts will prove futile. Emily sobbed openly. I don't want to die here. Please, let's just keep moving. Jordan's facade crumbled. This book is cursed. We burn it and run. But as we debated, the whispers returned. A cacophony echoing from all directions, our own voices, twisted and pleading. Alex, join us. Jordan, it's safe. Emily, come home. The fog surged again that afternoon, thicker than before, reducing the world to a suffocating white blur. In our blind flight toward the remembered parking lot, Emily tripped over an exposed root, sprawling face first. Guys, help. Before we could reach her, shadowy forms indistinct like elongated limbs merged from the mist, coiling around her ankles and wrists. She thrashed wildly, nails digging into the dirt. No, let go. We lunged forward, grabbing her arms, but the force was inhuman, yanking her backward into the haze. Her screams pierced the air, raw and desperate, fading as she vanished completely. We searched for hours, calling her name until our throats were hoarse, but only silence answered. The journal, Emily vanishes in the fog. Her final scream, a haunting echo that lingers in the survivor's nightmares. Grief and horror warred within us, but survival instinct propelled us onward. It's all coming true, Jordan gasped, his usual humor extinguished. The next prophecy sealed his fate. Jordan will record one last vlog, a desperate plea to the outside world, before the cave awakens and claims him, pulling him into its insatiable maw. He fumbled with his portable charger, reviving his phone. If anyone finds this, stay the fuck out of Pine Hollow. It's not just woods, it's alive, and it's hungry. As he hit record, the cave we'd discovered earlier materialized ahead, its entrance widening like a living throat. A vortex of wind howled from within, sucking at our clothes. Jordan staggered, phone flying from his grip. Alex, Ryan, don't let it take me. We grabbed his hands, but the pull was relentless. His fingers slipped, and he was gone, swallowed by the darkness with a final, guttural yell. Now just Ryan and me, stumbling through the nightmare landscape. The journal clutched in my white-knuckled fist, its final written entry. Ryan's wanderlust leads to his end. He strays once more, plummeting into the ravine for good, his body broken on the rocks below. Ryan, defiant to the last, pushed ahead. The cars this way swear. But at the cliff's edge, his boot caught on a loose stone. He teetered, arms windmilling, then fell. His scream doppled away, ending in a sickening thud that reverberated through my soul. Alone, utterly, terrifyingly alone. I ran, branches whipping my face, drawing blood that mingled with tears. Somehow, I reached the SUV, engine roaring to life as I peeled out, gravel flying. But the journal's last page, previously blank, now bore a scrawled inscription in fresh, red ink that smelled of copper. Whoever reads this will continue the tale, inscribing it with their own blood. The loop closes and begins anew. I realized then the journal doesn't merely predict, it creates, duplicating souls in an eternal cycle of torment, feeding on fear and flesh. Who penned the original entries? Victims before us, trapped in the same web, their essences bound to its pages. And now, it's my turn to write, to warn, even as the whispers follow me into the city lights. If you've made it this far, heed my plea. Avoid Pine Hollow at all costs. Delete this post if you can. And if you ever stumble upon a tattered journal in the woods, burn it to ash. But deep down, I know it's futile. The final page is filling even now with words not my own, stained in crimson. Your name might be next.